Xavier, and I'm the publisher of In Our Words Incorporated. We thank you for coming to the In Our Words book launch, where we will celebrate 5 of the 7 authors who have been published or had their books edited through IOWI in the second half of this year. It has been a great experience working with each of them. All the books presented today are available for purchase through the respective authors, as well as on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, to mention just a few of the over 39,000 global distributors in the Ingram network. For those of you who are not aware of our company, In Our Words Inc., or IOWI for short, was set up in 2008 and to date has published 90 titles in various formats. Do visit our website, inourwords.ca, or pick up a card from the IOWI table on my left. We will begin our program shortly with the first book presentation. So do get yourself some refreshments from the table to my left and settle in for an hour of literary readings. Thank you. I have the great pleasure of introducing Ruth Bogatie, the author of The Way Home, which has a subtitle, Spiritual Wisdom for Your Life's Journey. This book is available in paperback as well as ebook on global distribution, which includes Amazon. Our spiritual path is not a linear one. The way home is not a straight path. It is filled with the twists and turns of experience. My hope is that if you found yourself with this book, that's Ruth talking, okay, not me, that somewhere within these pages will be the missing piece to whatever puzzle you are striving to put together, to bring you home to the infinite being of light that you truly are. Ruth Bogatie in The Way Home. A little bit about the author. Ruth Bogatie left South Africa with an honors degree in psychology. In Toronto, Canada, she furthered her education through the study of holistic psychotherapy and Reiki energy healing. Her unique combination of therapy and inspired soul readings has helped countless clients around the world. In The Way Home, Ruth channels wisdom from her spirit guides. She lives in Toronto with her husband and 2 daughters. Ruth Bogatie. This is good. Maybe. Okay. Thank you, Cheryl. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for everything. This is an amazing lady who's very humble and quiet, but behind the scenes works tirelessly, and I mean it, tirelessly, to support just whoever is in her energy field to support. In my case, I was really, really lucky. I feel that way anyway. It's my first experience with publishing a book, and it's quite a daunting journey, I have to say. It's not an easy one, and I know I'm surrounded by authors, so you'll understand what I mean. Anyways, this book is it's called The Way Home. It's really a labor of love, truly. I was not setting out to write a book, really. It was more a gift that was given to me because, and it's from the angels and spirit guides, I'm thinking, and from my beloved late daughter, Deborah, because I was really struggling and I didn't know how I was going to carry on. And just to take you back, it's a bit of a convoluted story. Deborah was my first daughter. She was 14 years old when she passed away. And she had interesting challenges, put it that way. She had a lot of physical challenges. She just had a lot of difficulty with coping in the physical kind of world, doing your basic tasks that we would just take for granted. And we had a difficult task, my husband and I, in raising her because, there's no manual to tell you what to do. Anyway, there's no manual when you're a parent, but when you're this kind of parent, it's really, really difficult. And then I would say, many years passed and she became 14. There's a picture of her on my table if you want to see. She was very special.
And she passed away kind of peacefully in her sleep when she was 14. And in a way, it made sort of sense because, she kind of took herself out of the struggles that she was immersed in every single day. But in a way, it's just, it made no sense. Anyways, I was struggling, and so the first year and two went by, and just trying to cope with life and with her loss. And then I thought, okay, now I have to move on, and maybe I should continue working. And work for me was as a energy practitioner and a psychotherapist. I was always all about people, helping people to make sense of their lives, helping people to move forward in their lives. And I wasn't sure I would be able to do that because I was kind of in pieces. Anyway, somehow, my prayers were answered, and I connected with a woman who is an intuitive teacher. She's a spiritual teacher, and I had no idea this is what she did, but she has a university online, and she helps people to connect with their higher selves and with their higher purpose. And she kind of got me into connecting with my guides and going on a spiritual journey in another way. And it was really helpful. So I just did that for myself. And I started writing, but very informally. And one day she asked us in the little class we were in, it was a small group class, what is your karma with love? I had no idea what my karma with love is. Been married to the same guy in my life for many, many years. And I just had no kind of concept. I associated love with human beings. Little did I know that love is a huge concept that I hadn't really touched yet. But she saw it, and she connected me with the guides in that way. So I went to my guides and I asked them, can you please tell me what is my karma with love? And I started channeling very, informally and without me knowing. But I heard like a voice telling me what to say, and I wrote down whatever I heard. And according to her, this was channeling from a very high place. So anyways, it was a cool endeavor for me too, because I started to realize that there was comfort and love in many different levels and in many different places. So I started a kind of a ritual where I would go into my sanctuary, which is my office, but it's kind of a healing sanctuary that I've created. And I would do this in the middle of the night, because the truth about spiritual connection is that it's easier to do it when it's dark. When the physical world goes to sleep, the spiritual world is more easily accessible, at least in my experience. So I started to do that, and I had an incredible experience that if it ended there would have been a gift in itself. But it's so filled with wisdom. I wrote 630 or something pages in the end, and I started to then type them up and realize this is a book. But really what it is it's wisdom for everybody, because we all need to find our way home, and that's why I called it The Way Home. It's really the way home to love, and the way home to yourself, and to the divine being that you truly are. And we all go through grief and loss and different experiences, and my hope with this book is that, as I said, somewhere in the pages will be the answer to whatever question you're asking. Anyway, so Cheryl kindly suggested that I ask some people that are close to me to share some of their experiences with the book, because honestly, for myself, I use it as a tool. Even if I have a question, like last night, I was really nervous, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know, it's my first experience launching a book. I went to my guides, boom, look at this page. Okay, and I'm reading, and there's the answer, and I'm like, okay, I need to just breathe, I need to let go, I need to, so my offering and my hope is that everybody who touches this book will be nourished and will be better for it. So I'd like to call on Kara. I'm thinking intuitively that's the right thing to do, and she's a very close friend of mine. She's endorsed the book at the back as well. She's a doctor, and she's just really resonated with some of the words, and she's chosen a little section to share, which is meaningful for her. So, yeah. Thank you.
Hello. All right, so I'm just going to read a section that I really like. But the truth is, everything in this book I really like, because it's all very meaningful. And exactly what Ruth said, like if I'm ever feeling kind of down or blocked or negative or anything bad, and I open the book to whatever page I find, there's always a nugget of consciousness that like takes me out of it, like every time. It's amazing. Okay, so this is the channeling part. Okay, so it's from the perspective of the spirit guides. We in the spiritual world are not so interested in the global statements that you as humankind make about love, kindness, unity, etc. We are watching what you do, every single one of you, as you go about your life. The time for discussion has passed. The time for action is now, and we have a lot of work to do. Love for no reason is the key. Now we need to put it into practice. We will need to reach deep into our hearts for the wisdom and inspiration to motivate us to move forward. We will also need to tread lightly on our newly laid path. Hearts are fragile. Souls are dependent, one on the other. We are counting on each other to finally do the work and finish the job. The task of creating peace on earth is monumental and huge, but at the same time, we are more than equipped to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara. Next, I want to ask Bonnie. Bonnie is also an editor, so even before I found Cheryl, Bonnie got me to a huge place in my journey with this book. She helped me often to say things which maybe were harder to say or would have come out a bit harsh, and she came at this project with a huge amount of compassion, and for that I am forever grateful, and a very close person to my heart also. Lucky lady I am. So I'm going to call on Bonnie. I have no idea what these people are going to choose to read, by the way, because I just decided whatever it is, it's all connected and all good.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you, Ruth. I have to say first off that this whole experience was a new one for me too. I've worked as an editor before, but in a magazine. So I had never edited a book before. And so the way that Ruth and I came together as friends, and I just thought I was going to type this thing, was quite, turned out to be something more than I ever thought it would in so many ways. I, of course, went through the book many times, as you would do when you're editing a book. And I can honestly say it still stupefies me to say this, that every single time I went through it, I discovered things that I could swear I hadn't read before. I learned things about myself that I hadn't learned yet. I discovered new ways of looking at things every single time. The book is so rich in wisdom and insight and compassion and love for all that we all go through as human beings walking on this earth. I can't express enough how grateful I am to have been any small part of this. So I had a hard time choosing. I had a hard time. I did the same thing that Ruth did. I went to my guide and said, okay, I'm just going to open the page and you tell me what I'm to read here. But I kept doing that because every time I read something, oh, that's so good. Okay, and I kept opening it. So I had a hard time choosing, but this is the piece that I chose in the end. It's from part 9, which is called Embracing, Our Soul's Desire. And this chapter is called Following the Breadcrumbs Home. Love has no expectation of us. This morning I'm greeted, this is Ruth speaking, I am greeted by my mystic teacher, a female guide. As soon as I sense her presence, I become overwhelmed with her gifts of love, of warmth, and of acceptance. It is as if she radiates a deep compassion toward my heart. I feel it immediately. I realize in an instant how empty my life is on the physical realm. We are all searching for depth, for meaning, most of all for love and acceptance of who we are as individual expressions of unconditional love and divine spirit. And yet we feel incomplete somehow. We wonder if we fit in and belong within the greater whole of humanity. Today I examine my own parenting style and I wonder, what am I truly teaching my girls? Do I encourage them enough to be themselves? Am I showing them that it's okay to be unique and perfectly different from others? Or am I more concerned about them fitting in, having friends, etc.? I want them to be happy. I don't like hearing reports of rejection, exclusion, and cruel behavior in the schoolyard. I wonder how much of my own pain and loss am I projecting onto them at the end of the day? Am I even capable of volunteering an objective opinion, or does it hurt too much to hear how my kids may be struggling with the normal growing pains and rites of passage in their lives? I realize wholeheartedly today that although I'm a devoted mother, I am also deeply flawed as a human being. I am also confused sometimes regarding how I fit in with the fellow classmates in my life. Fortunately, though, in the world of spirit, and from a spiritual point of view, I am not confused or lost at all. None of us are. In another dimension of reality and experience, we are perfect just as we are. That was my takeaway from my connection with my spirit guides today, and specifically from my mystic teacher. I am perfect, whole, and complete, just as I am. See, this is where we need to go. And this is Ruth's spirit guide replying to her, responding to what she's just said. This is where we need to go to acquire completion and perfection of ourselves, deep into the heart of our own spiritual experience. The Creator wants us to reach higher and higher states of love and peace and compassion, compassionate understanding. Other people, parents and children included, are in our lives to push us and direct us toward our ultimate destiny of spiritual perfection. Each and every challenging situation that we encounter on a daily basis is like one of the breadcrumbs leading us home in the fairy tale of Hansel and Gretel. We will always be afforded the opportunity to retrace our steps back to the source of our original choice. The how is not as important as the why in this case. Forgive yourself this day. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Alan, very good friend of mine, who tirelessly read through my manuscript before I edited it properly, and then read it again and just gave me the most positive reinforcement and wonderful feedback. Forever grateful for that. And so Alan's going to come up and read something that's meaningful to him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure and my honor to be among so many creative people tonight, and I can only echo what has already been said about the book, that there is much wisdom and truth, and it's an opportunity to let other things be released from your mind if you read some sections. The section I have chosen to read is Merlin's Magic, Inspiration. The truth is that although much of our destiny is laid out in the cards for us before we are even born, we are the ones who are steering our own ship. We cannot freeze and panic whenever we encounter a challenge or an obstacle. Success comes from our ability to negotiate the hurdles and bumps in our lives with as much ease and natural grace as we can. We need to learn how to trust our inherent wisdom, the part of us that is always connected to the bigger soul collective. Perhaps we will need to become more patient with ourselves and our perceived failures and weaknesses. When a painful situation arises for us, we will need to take a deep breath, pause, and wait for our inspiration to kick in. It will come to us if we allow it to. Awareness is the key. Seeking help from others who walk beside us on the path is a positive thing to do, as long as their wisdom doesn't overpower or usurp our own. The answers we seek can be found within always. Any great therapist or spiritual teacher will build you up in terms of your spiritual strength and access to spiritual wisdom, rather than break your spirit and tell you what to do. I meant it when I said that patience for one's own weaker self is necessary and vital. We need to believe in ourselves and our ability to surmount any perceived obstacles in our lives. We cannot work against ourselves in this regard. We need to keep working on believing in ourselves and on building ourselves up from within.
Thank you, Alan. And I'm going to call it on Cheryl because she was so with me in this journey, and she has her own sections. I think that spoke to her, and I would be honored, Cheryl, if you would share something.
I already read your part.
Huh? Oh, is that the part? Okay, so the Bible
I
has
just
what
want
it
to say
says.
something. I just want to say something about that.
Sorry.
You know, I have to echo what Kara said and what Bonnie said. Every time I opened the book, and we went through multiple edits. The book was scheduled for 2 months of editing, and it went on and on and on. And she's a perfectionist, and I'm a perfectionist, so that's what happened. But I think we were both very happy in the end. And like both Karen and Bonnie said, every time I read the book, I had goosebumps because it felt like her guides were talking to me, and it's because we have a universal journey, and she was going through a very hard time, and she has just told you her story, and all of us in some way or the other, we can find our own messages in what she went through, and I think this book is a godsend for anybody who gets this book or passes it on to anybody. It's really a godsend because there's so much of spiritual guidance in here, and it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, you will find your life story in here, or messages. At the back of each chapter are quotes from within the chapter, and honestly, if you start your journey by just reading those quotes, it really takes out the universal messages in each chapter, and it will guide you through the book. So if you have somebody who's struggling with anything in your life, it makes a great Christmas, Hanukkah gift. So I urge you to do that. I'm going to read just one passage. The spirit world never lies to us. It will always reveal the truth to us of who we are and what we are meant to be. The spirit world will continue feeding us if we are open to tasting its wisdom and knowledge.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for your words now. That's really beautiful, and that's really the message that I want to give, and that I'm hoping that it can be a tool for whoever picks it up. So I think that would be it for my presentation. Unless anyone has any questions, feel free. But otherwise, I really thank you all for listening. I don't believe in coincidences, so for some reason it's meant to be that you're here tonight. I came to Cheryl's first launch, which was also amazing, and just a lot of gratitude, and I wish for all of us just strength and clarity and the best of blessing. Thank you.
No one have any question?
Come into my life. Thank you very much. Our next book presentation